Welcome back to episode 37 of The Education Frontier. I am your host, Socheda, and I am sitting here in our studio feeling absolutely energized about today's topic. How are you doing today, Mr. Cyrone?
I am doing wonderful, Socheda. There is an unmistakable buzz in the air whenever we talk about the future of education, and today's focus on adaptive learning systems is something that gets my heart racing with excitement.
It really is a game changer, isn't it? We often talk about student success as this big, broad goal, but when you look at the mechanics of how students actually learn, it's so individual. I remember being in school and feeling so lost because the pace was just too fast for me in math.
That is a feeling so many students share, Socheda, that feeling of drowning while the rest of the class is swimming ahead. But imagine a world where the textbook actually notices you are struggling and slows down, or offers a different explanation entirely.
That is exactly what we mean by adaptive learning, right? It's not just a digital book, it's a system that breathes and moves with the student. How would you describe that aha moment when a system finally clicks for a struggling learner?
Oh, it is pure magic. In an adaptive system, the algorithm identifies the specific gap in knowledge. It's like a tailor-made suit. When the student finally grasps a concept because the material was presented at their Goldilocks level, not too hard, not too easy, their confidence just skyrockets. You can see it in their eyes, even through a screen.
That confidence is so fragile in education. I was reading a case study yesterday about a middle school that implemented these systems, and the teacher mentioned that her role changed from a lecturer to a kind of learning coach. She felt more connected to her students, not less.
Nodding vigorously. Exactly. That is a common misconception that technology replaces the teacher. Far from it. It frees the teacher from the repetitive task of grading basic worksheets and allows them to dive deep into emotional support and complex problem solving with the students who need it most.
Thoughtfully. So it's about using data to be more human in a way? Earnestly, I think some parents might be worried that their children are just becoming data points in a machine. How do we reassure them that this leads to genuine success?
Reassuringly, that is a very valid concern. We have to explain that the data is just a map. The destination is always the student's mastery and well-being. When we see a student who used to hate school suddenly asking for more challenges because the adaptive system kept them in that flow state, that is the proof in the pudding.
Excitedly. I love that term, flow state. It's when you're so immersed that time just disappears. I imagine for a student who has always felt behind, reaching that state must feel like a superpower.
With deep conviction, it absolutely is, and it changes the narrative of their life. They stop saying, I am bad at this, and start saying, I just haven't mastered this yet. That shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is the ultimate success story of adaptive learning.
Wistfully. I wish I had that when I was struggling with those calculus equations. But looking forward, Mr. Cyrone, where do you see this going in the next 5 years? Will every student have a personalized AI tutor?
I believe we are heading there. We will see systems that don't just adapt to academic levels, but also to a student's mood or energy level. If the system detects frustration through the way a student is interacting, it might suggest a short break or a more visual way of learning. It's becoming more holistic.
Amazing. That sounds incredible. But we also have to talk about equity. How do we ensure that these sophisticated systems reach the students in rural areas or underfunded schools? I feel a bit heavy thinking about the potential gap this could create.
Solemnly, you've hit on the most critical points, Socheda. We cannot leave anyone behind. The beauty of these systems is that they can actually be more cost-effective in the long run, but the initial infrastructure, internet and devices, must be a priority for every government. Education is a right, not a luxury.
Determinedly. I couldn't agree more. We need to advocate for that access. Changing pace. Let's talk about a specific success story. I heard about a boy named Sam who used an adaptive platform for literacy. He went from a 3rd grade reading level to a 6th grade level in just 1 year.
Beaming. I know that story. Sam's journey was incredible because the system identified that he wasn't bad at reading. He just had a specific phonics gap that had been ignored for years. Once that was filled, he took off like a rocket. His mother said he started reading bedtime stories to his younger sister. That is the human impact.
That is so beautiful. It's about more than grades. It's about the ability to participate in life and family. We are nearing the end of our time, but I want to ask, if a teacher is listening right now and feels overwhelmed by the idea of one more technology, What is your one piece of advice?
Gently, my dear colleagues, don't look at it as one more thing on your plate. Look at it as the plate itself. Let the system handle the diagnostic work so you can do what you went into this profession for, to inspire, to mentor, and to love your students. Let the machine be the tool and you be the soul.
Inspired. Let the machine be the tool and you be the soul. I don't think I could have said it better myself. Mr. Saroon, thank you for sharing your passion with us today. This has been such an uplifting conversation.
Warmly, thank you, Socheta. It is always a joy. To all the educators and students out there, keep pushing, keep adapting, and never stop believing in your potential.
Brightly. And that wraps up episode 37. Thank you all for tuning in to the Education Frontier. We hope you feel as inspired as we do about the future of learning. Join us next week as we explore the world of virtual reality classrooms. Until then, keep learning.